Good morning. Today is Constitution Day, the day we mark the signing of that historic document 233 years ago. As they do every year, many schools across our nation will mark this day with lessons on the meaning of we the people and why a form of government we easily take for granted was a powerful and novel idea generations ago. On Constitution Day in 1987, President Reagan traveled to Philadelphia to deliver remarks at the We the People bicentennial celebration. In his speech, he observed, quote, "Sometimes we're tempted to think of the birth of our country as a golden age, a time characterized primarily by harmony and cooperation. In fact, the Constitution and our government were born in crisis," close quote. Today, we find ourselves unquestionably in a time of national crisis. The past 6 months have tested our nation and our people. And as any educator, parent, or student knows, they have tested our schools. Our teachers have undertaken Herculean tasks to keep our children learning. On top of lesson plans, they now have to worry about things like PPE and social distancing, phrases that would have seemed wildly out of place at last year's summit. Our teachers have undertaken Herculean tasks to keep our children learning. On top of lesson plans, they now have to worry about things like PPE and social distancing, phrases that would have seemed wildly out of place at an education summit 1 year ago. Our superintendents and chancellors and state leaders have written, revised, and reimagined plans for safely reopening our classrooms. And parents have had to help their children learn virtually, scrambling to make sure they're in the right Zoom breakout room and don't unmute at an inappropriate time. Yes, this crisis has laid bare both the incredible strengths of our educators and the painful weaknesses and inequities of our system. I'm thinking of children forced to sit in parking lots to get Wi-Fi connection to go to class, or who don't even have the right equipment to connect with their teachers. It's a sobering moment for American education. But as President Reagan reminds us, our Constitution and country were born from crisis. And we believe, challenging the optimism of our 40th president, that out of crisis, we can bring forth a stronger, more equitable system for all. But as President Reagan reminds us, our Constitution and country were both born from crisis. And we believe, channeling the optimism of our 40th president, that out of this crisis, we can bring forth a stronger, more equitable education system for all. And as we open this year's Reagan Institute Summit on Education, let's pay tribute to our educators, leaders, and parents who are doing so much to keep us moving forward. You know, the words education and school don't appear anywhere in the Constitution. That is, of course, why education has always been a crucial responsibility of the states and local communities. And President Reagan firmly believed in that principle. Appropriately, this year's theme for RISE is lifting state leadership. And like no time in modern history has clear-eyed state education leadership been so consequential. So we're grateful to be joined today by multiple governors who proudly wear the mantle of education governors to give us a State of the States report, as well as by current and former United States Secretaries of Education dedicated to solving the challenges of our time. Thank you for being with us. When students study the Constitution, and it shouldn't just be reserved for one day, we aren't just teaching them about some fated moment in history. We're fostering what President Reagan called informed patriotism. He spoke of it in his farewell address when he asked, "Are we doing a good enough job teaching our children what America is and what she represents in the long history of the world?" He added, quote, "We've got to do a better job getting across that America is freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. Indeed, we do need to do a better job. At a time when the values of freedom and democracy are under assault in so many ways around the world, that informed patriotism is vitally important. And that's why we take seriously our mission at the Reagan Institute's Center for Civic Education and Opportunity. I know that in this time, when getting through just one school day seems like a monumental achievement, that these loftier ambitions can feel a bit out of place. But really, they are more important than ever. For when our country is tested, it is the American people's commitment to and belief in our institutions and values that allows us to prevail. So I hope today's conversations prove thought-provoking. I hope they are motivating and energizing. I wish we could be together in person, but I know we are united in our commitment to putting a quality, transformative education within reach of all children. It's a goal that President Reagan believed in, but as evidenced by our speakers and attendees today, one that knows no partisan affiliation. So thank you so much for your presence and for your leadership.